Hello everyone and welcome to a new video of Firepower Threat Defense series. In this video, we are going to talk about how to do the access management to our FMC. Basically, we are going to look at user account creations in terms of local users and we are going to create custom roles you know, to be assigned to those users. Also, we are going to look at something very interesting known as privilege escalation, how a user can escalate their privilege on this FMC, in order to become an admin or the value you have configured where the users are permitted to escalate their privileges to. So let's jump onto the FMC. So right now I only have one user account that's known as admin. I have been using it till now, but now I want to create more users because suppose I have cybersecurity team, I have network security guys, I have design guys, and I have a couple of people more, maybe monitoring guys. I want to give them access, but not all. I want to give them only access to the features they really need. So in order to do that, we click on this gear. Let me just zoom in a bit so you can see more clarity. Yeah. So click on this gear shaped icon and go to users. And once you reach there, you see right now I have only one user, which is known as admin. Its role is administrator and authentication method is internal and password lifetime is set to unlimited. Let's create one more user. I'll say create user and then I'll create an user Shivam dot Johari, my name. Let's mention the real name Shivam Johari. Use external authentication method. We are not going to use it for now because then I have to set up things here and we are gonna not going to talk about that till now. So let's set the password for Shivam Johari. Okay, maximum number of failed logins allowed 5, minimum password length 8, days until password expiration 0, and days before password expiration warning. You can set, how many days before user will get a warning that their password is about to expire. Force password reset on login. If you want user to change the password on the login, you want to check the password strength as well and exempt from the browser session timeout. If you want user to exempt and the browser session stays live. Then the role. Our main configuration here is user role. What role will the user have? I can say Shivam is an administrator. Okay. Yeah. Just hit the save, and I'll become the administrator user. Okay. Now let's create one role. Okay, we want to create one more role. Okay, so go to user roles. Roles really define what authorization you have on the FMC. Okay, user ID password is authentication and what privileges you have is the authorization. You know what you can do. So click on create user role. Let's create a new role. I'll say cyber security analyst role. Okay, we put this role as cybersecurity analyst in the name. Where they want access to, let's give them access to entire overview menu here and all the analysis menu so they can check logs, etc., and look at the things. Don't give them access to the policy. Don't give them access to the devices, object manager, integration, or the system, right? Or the REST VDI. And now there are two more options you see. External database access, read only. Okay, you can configure this. Also, the other one is something which is a very good thing you can do. Like in Linux, if you have to do sudo, you do sudo and then you put your own password and then you go in, right? So right now, if a user is cybersecurity analyst, then can he escalate his privileges to what role? Administrator. Just check this box. Whatever user has this role can escalate their privilege to administrator role by using what password? Authenticated with assigned user's password or a specific user's password. So if you say authenticated with assigned user's password, so if I'm Shivam Johari, I've logged in, I have this role, then I need to put my password again in order to escalate my privileges to admin. But if you check if you check this radio button, if you select this radio button, then you need to mention here user ID. Suppose I created a escalation name user, I say escalation as a username, then I can say this user's password should be provided. Okay, I'm just gonna keep user's own password for now. Now this role can escalate to administrator. I'll just save it. Okay, now our role has been created. Now let's create another user and assign him this role. So I'm gonna create a user here, a username. I'll say Soumya.Jain, name is Soumya Jain, and then password. Yeah, I'm gonna put a very strong password here. Okay, and then I'm gonna keep these options default, and he's a cybersecurity analyst. Okay, I'll just hit save. Now, now we have two users, Shivam Johari, who is the admin, and Soumya Jain, who is a cybersecurity analyst. Both are internal users, okay? Their password lifetime is unlimited because they are not, the passwords are not expiring and they are enabled, okay? Now, you see, we talked about privilege escalation, and I said this user can escalate their privileges to administrator. Where do I decide what role what role this role can escalate their privileges to? So you decide that here. Configure permission escalation. So if you click on this button, you can select what role is available to get the escalated the privileges to. So if you are in any other role, you can go to this role, whatever I select here. Okay. But you need to provide your uh, you know, settings, like password, if your own password has been set to provide or some other user's password. Okay, that's it. So we are going to keep it to administrator. We can change it if we want. Now let's log in using Shivam Johari and see how does it go. I am going to keep open one more window. I'm going to use Edge because Edge won't have my, you know, authentication. 192.45. Yes. Let's use Shivam dot Johari. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, I went too much. Okay, this is fine. Okay, let's put the password in. Okay. So you can see I have successfully logged in with the name Shivam.Johari. Okay, and I'm an administrator. You can see I have all the access everywhere. I can go here, there, look at analysis, look at device management. I can do upgrades to devices. So in short, I'm like a pseudo administrator. Okay, so I can do all sort of stuff here. Now let's log out from here. You remember this menu. Okay, admin has three options in here. I'll log out now and I'll log in as Soumya. Okay, now you see I have limited options. I only have access to overview and analysis tabs. Okay, I cannot go anywhere other than that. But if you remember, we configured that this user has a custom role, which is cybersecurity analyst, and it can escalate its privileges to administrator role. In order to escalate the privilege, Somajan needs to click here, and then you see there is an extra option, escalate privileges, and then put his own password and escalate. See, now he's administrator. So that's how the privilege escalation works. It's like becoming the sudo from a normal user in here. And yes, now he's an administrator. He can go anywhere he wants because that's what the privilege escalation level is configured to. If he can provide his own password that has been set for his role, then he can escalate his privileges to administrator. Now let's log out from here and then I'm gonna close it. So this is how we create users, user roles, and this is how we configure the privilege escalation as well. We can enable or disable the roles. And in the next video, we'll try to figure out how to configure SSO. Basically, these all are internal administrators. We are creating here. These rely on the FMC itself, but there are many other ways to log into FMC. Like you can use LDAP, you can use ACS, basically radius-based authentication, and then you can use SSO. You can integrate your FMC with Microsoft Azure, Okta, and there are a bunch of options. You can integrate your FMC with. So external authentication, you can see if I go there, there are options to add an external authentication object, and two protocols are supported, LDAP and Radius. So you can create a integration to the Active Directory and set this up, all this stuff. And then other than that, you can have the Radius stuff as well, configure a Radius server, and then define all these settings for the users to um, log into the FMC. But yeah, that's it. In next video we'll try to see how to do SSO, and that's it for this video. So we learned creating users, creating user rules, and how to do the privilege escalate, how to configure the privilege escalation. Not the, I would say, not the hacking stuff one, which is unauthorized, basically illegal privilege escalation. This is basically completely legal because you are giving users the authorization to do that. Okay, then have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.